Malaysia to join. Today, definitely, we have a good conversation regarding the bills that are currently in the legislative session that are moving very fast. So, just kind of like diving into that. So, we'll just have her join us in a second. Just to tell you how to you can remain politically involved even after the elections as well as the legislative session. There's multiple ways for you to be involved. There's multiple ways for you to remain involved. So we'll definitely dive into that. So yeah, how have you guys been? It's definitely been crazy times. The I feel like we've been in a constant change. Adapting to um, the legislative session during the pandemic, how public comment can be done with it, when it comes to committees, as well as how you can actually contact your, legislative representatives, both in the House and the Senate. And yeah, so while we wait for Alicia, I can definitely start talking about the little ugly triplets, how I call them, of anti-voting legislation. Definitely, with Senate Bill 202, House Bill 531, and Senate Bill 241. All of them are, just bills that are not going to be good for people like you and I, to make it easier or more accessible for us to vote. There's unfortunately there's just we've seen time and time again. When in Georgia, we definitely were in the epicenter of it all. There was just no legitimate report, investigation, inquiry, audit, that it uncovers any conspiracy to commit voter fraud or rig an election in favor of a candidate. But, seems that is what certain of the representatives in the legislatures are just kind of taking and running with it. Yeah, there's just no evidence of any widespread malfunctioning machinery or human error that led to unintended outcomes. But yeah, here we are today, and it seems that you know uh, the takeover that is happening is one that will have many implications, and not only that, but it's definitely just going to have a lot of collateral damage. And here's Alicia. Let me make sure I see you joining. Hey, Alicia.
Hey Brian, how
Pretty good.
it's loading here. I believe my okay, there we go. How are you doing this Wednesday?
Pretty good, pretty good. We're just kind of diving into the legislation that is currently fastly moving through the legislature, right before the end of the legislation next week, which is Sine Die, which is March 31st, which is next Wednesday, I believe. So we just want, letting people know how they can continuously be involved. And I know that that is something you would dive into right now. So please take it away.
Yes, as a millennial, as a youth, a young adult, it's very hard to very easy to get wrapped up in media when it comes to sense of challenges and little TikToks, busted challenges. So everything is hard to not get thrown towards you. And a lot of the times that's due to our so as a cultural organizer, I have been able to utilize well as social media just to kind of touch with what's going on in the outside world and know that our feeds are not that information that's very that we could utilize and kind of grow upon. But there are ways that us as youth change our algorithm at least so we could see, so we could receive that information via social media, or we could stay in touch with what's going on in our community by simply swiping like we. One thing that we can is follow political hashtags as well as pages. My page, Black information comes to Brown and Black community, as well as Georgia Shift pages. Georgia Shift and nonprofit organizations. We're pushing and the youth and communities to vote and actually the way to go about that and to put in our community. By following these pages, such as the General Assembly, Georgia Capital Day, it opens our feed to actually receive and distribute us more easily on an automatic basis. So if you're just scrolling, you might see this bill is possibly going to be passed, and then take the per se act, put that into place, or to learn more about just very easy access that you don't necessarily and check. GovTrack.us is a website that I actually found over the course of the last month, keeping me up with all the upcoming and past bills in the House and the Senate. So this is to kind of keep up what's going on in Washington. A lot of the times that's very news media outlet, or even some things that we're looking for. Being the new control for Georgia Shift allowed me to kind of dwell into a new realm of inflicting change in our community, and GovTrack.us definitely allowed me to keep up more fluently and actually providing information that I may have not known. Just for simply, it's not something very that you just walk past or that you just pass. So you're actually able to see alerts and notifications for new legislation and new laws that's being passed. So when you're just checking that, you see, oh, hey, it's a law being passed about voting. Maybe I should really take consideration in that. Or if you're a small business, a bill being passed by that. So it's definitely up on when it comes to laws and bills. If you're a parent, they have laws and bills being passed by that. Even stuff that's being presented to the legislation, to the House and to the Senate to be passed as laws. All of that information is there. So the youth as well as anybody in politics, just to go on that website, put in your phone number, put in your emails to receive these notifications as you receive the weather notification. Speaking about weather notification widgets or something, I know Apple has implemented their new design to the iOS updates. Mm-hmm. And I'm also using the iOS updates, our new features, and I found that very well. I have widgets for Pinterest, I have widgets for my maps, so it's accessible, and you can actually have widget outlets. I found that like partisan media apps that I kind of do, or Bloomberg, Wall Street, The Hill, applications such as that, or even a political side that you do applications. So if you just go on the market and literally just type in news in your search bar, there'll be lots of applications. So you can also set notifications for some of those apps. I'm not sure, but it's definitely updates coming towards that. Some that you can actually set up widgets. So as soon as you open up your phone screen, right there, out the news to you. So that's definitely that we could work together. More political change in our life. A lot of times it's put on the back burner. People don't really realize its use or necessity until we get older, until we actually something that we actually, a lot of the times we complaining about, oh, this wasn't covered by the news, oh, I never heard of that, or oh, I never heard of that. But we have to, like, why is that being bought from us? What are we doing to make that information accessible? And one thing about it is changing the app. Companies always track watching, how long we're watching, what we're doing. So if we implement that into our tech routine, we could kind of get a space where it's just to just social media antics, or even just social change, because I know for my we focus more on protest and and, and lobbying when it comes to community outreach and stuff like that. The main thing about that is changing our algorithms. We're able to support the new of social media, the new realm change, because social media has definitely the new of spreading this. Getting so yeah, and I really just want the rest of the youth, as well as the older people, just to follow this hashtag. Get on GovTrack.us media to, implement this new form of information in their life, because it's so necessary.
Yeah, no, thank you so much for diving into that. Definitely great ways for us to continue being involved after election as well as after this legislative session is over, because these are laws and bills that are going to affect us for years to come, for generations, some of them, so definitely a great way for us to keep in the know and be forth in the sense of forthcoming of like we know what's going to happen before it happens. So
Yes.
definitely a great way to keep it involved. So thank you so much, Alicia. It is always a pleasure. Thank you for joining me this week. And definitely thank you. And we'll see you next week. Okay?
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye. So once again, thank you to Alicia for giving us that report on how you can stay involved. Please feel free to share with your peers. So now let's dive in back into what we were discussing about the triplets of bills that are currently the legislative session that is going to affect how we are voting here in Georgia. Yeah, like it's just similar to what I was just saying. There's no proof that there has ever been any type of fraud or any type of problem with the past elections, but unfortunately, that is not how certain members of the Georgia legislature see it. I guess they just did not like how the Secretary of State and the state election board worked with actually local election officials to improve the processes to obtain an absentee ballot, establish drop boxes, and utilize large venues as early voting sites. And it's just another steps to ensure that we were safe during the pandemic. So it's just kind of interesting how instead of applauding this and making sure that we continue building that up, we want to remove that. It is interesting how by providing safe options for you to vote in the middle of a pandemic and maybe build onto that, now there's a different way to make sure that there's takeover of local election boards, as well as deciding the consolidation of power in the legislature, which in a sense is like there's this preach of local government, like we don't want anybody to come in and tell us what to do, but it's like but you're doing that with the state by telling local election boards to do that. So it just makes no sense to me. Yeah, like I just think it is crazy how other than this, clearly no other way than to describe it than a power grab. But it even I would say that it even goes as far as put a taint on civic engagement. And the reason I say that is because they're trying to restrict how nonprofits are actually being involved in local elections, because the purpose of organizations like Georgia SHIP is to register voters, inform Georgians of their rights, and provide information of how and where to vote. And it just seems that that's just not what we want to do, which is makes you question the ulterior motives as to why there is. And just to give you some numbers, because I always say that math never lies. Our state witnessed a 500,000 increase in registered voters in 2016. In 2020, over 1 million voters like you and I, Black, brown, Asian, young people, went out to vote. And, this is because of the hard work of a lot of these nonprofits like us, like, New Georgia Project, and a lot of other great organizations that are doing the work in the ground in Georgia. But it seems like we don't like that, which is like makes you kind of like scratch your head and be like, what? Like, why don't you want? But yeah. There's this in the committee, just to give you some tea on that. That it is, a good, the one of the representatives that, or one of the people that introduced it, one of the legislators that introduced it, said that it makes it easy to vote and hard to cheat. But I feel like it's the total. I disagree. It makes it easy to cheat and hard to vote. The latter being true for Black, Latinos, Asians, young people, and seniors, because that's another thing that we're saying. Like, this is not only going to affect, Black and brown, BIPOC communities. This is going to affect also rural and seniors. So this is very interesting how, they're going about it. But just, to keep it short, I just wanted to kind of give you that quick rundown. Next week will be sine die, which is the last day for a bill to be voted on in order to be sent to the governor. I will give you a final comparison of the three different bills and where they are at. More than likely, we will see them go to the vote either in the House or the Senate on either next week or on sine die on Wednesday. So it's definitely going to be a very interesting day. So make sure to join us next week. And yeah, just make sure you are talking to your legislators and let them know how you feel about these bills. And finally, so let's end on a positive note. One thing that I would say that's definitely positive is the fact that starting tomorrow, every single Georgian, if you did not know, every single Georgian tomorrow will be able to book their appointment for the COVID-19 vaccine, which is great news because that means that we will be able to get the population here in the state vaccinated faster. So definitely very excited to see that. So make sure you go to myvaccinegeorgia.com and book your appointment tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, I'm waiting for my second dose. But please make sure that if you have not already registered to get your vaccine, tomorrow it is going to be open for every single person in Georgia. So make sure once again to go to myvaccinegeorgia.com to book your COVID-19 vaccine. So thank you so much for joining us for another episode of Tea Time with Brian. And we will see you next Wednesday for sine die. Thank you so much and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.